started the process of an injunction. The mayor has the authority over Bob Whiting. I don't think we should go any further until we get the word from the mayor as to what the disposition is. Okay? That's what we've got to do. National Historic Landmark, everybody wants to say it's unreasonable, even for a private company. If it is moved, the only place it should be moved to is with the rest of it on RG&E.
I put it over on your property.
What's that?
Where's your property?
My property, RG&E has the rest of the tower. We have permission over here at the Ruffing Station. This can't go. I think I'm afraid you won't touch it or, you know, this is making it weird, unused.
Hey, John, come on down for a minute.
You know, I hate to have it come to this, but this is an important issue in a whole bunch of ways. Well, the thing of it is, I'll come down here on the assurance that this thing not be further touched or damaged or moved. Otherwise, I'm not coming down if it's a pitch bad horse. And we've got to involve the police and stuff like that in lieu of, and until we get the response. We're not meeting with the mayor. I've got my cellular phone. If I had run my cellular phone down, we would know what the status is. The mayor is the only one in a position to give the response to this. He's aware of it. The press is meeting with him this morning, and that's what we've got to do.
Hey, John.
Hey, Linda?
Why don't you take a ride and go get a coffee?
Linda, can you come here just a second? The crane isn't operating. It's safe.
Let's go get a coffee. No, just go for a short coffee. I'll go for a walk. He wants to stay there. That's a problem. Thousands of dollars. He can give a shit about it.
All we told her is that until we get the word from the mayor's the only one that can deal with this thing.
Do me a favor.
This is my wife, Martha.
Hey, do me a favor, bring me back a
I don't want to put Godfrey in the middle of this, but the only person that can make the answers on this right now really is at the mayor's level. Okay, well, I don't know if the other fellow from the city wants to contact Whiting to see if I don't have RG&E will give us the permission. We had a crew here 2 weeks ago. It was, I believe, on a Friday in the end of June 27th, or whatever that day was, which is before his deadline. We had the crew here from 8 until 5, and no representative from the city ever showed up. We located the tank house because it is 12 tons. Okay, it's the biggest part. It was too big to move. And we did the best we could in securing it, making it safe so it's not a nuisance. There's no problems with it. It is very historically significant. We have gotten the backing of every organization, the Coast Guard, the Army Corps of
Sweetie, that's not a little
Navigation,
juice box
local
cooler
Coast
over there,
Guard,
is it?
Historical Society, Marine Fire Department,
This is we
down,
went.
Navy League, okay? Right now. But I'll be happy to try to clean out. I hope that. I'll keep that. Yeah, Mayor's Secretary has said that he's coming to the phone. Yes, hello, is this Mayor Johnson? Oh, Mayor Johnson, this is 5of 6 Swacen. We've met and talked briefly a couple times in the past, and I sent you some materials sometime, Mayor Johnson, about some of these important historic waterfront and environmental issues at the Port of Rochester. And sadly, I think, Mayor Johnson, that those probably were channeled perhaps not to the correct people. I know that you suggested I talk to Jeff Carlson, and I don't know where things went on that, but right now we have a very immediate issue of attempting to save what is really a very, very, very important symbol of our whole maritime heritage, the tower from the end of the Pier. And I'm on top of the tower right now, mainly because I believe Bob Whiting, who has been our problem here for the past 5 years. And I do wish you would really investigate his background and what he's done. And I have great hopes, and I'm a great supporter and fan of yours because I think you're our hope for the city. But I do have a real problem with some of the leftovers from the previous administration, and the worst one is Whiting, and he has sent a crew down here to have this important historic artifact removed. Every organization that talks about it, it's the Coast Guard, the Army Corps of Engineers, the local Coast Guard station, the Coast Guard Auxiliary, Lighthouse, the Marine Historical Society, our organization, the Navy League, and because Mayor, well, the thing of it is, Mayor, we are a little totally volunteer organization. Well, I know, mainly because we didn't hear about this until we didn't realize that this was going to be removed until we got a call from one of our directors who got a call from somebody else saying that the cranes were coming down. We were led to believe that we had at least until July 25th. That's what Whiting's letter indicated to us. Well, they're very supportive of this being saved, Mayor. Well, the thing of it is, no, Mayor. I'm just asking one thing. Just if we could buy a little time, two possibilities here, Mayor. If we could buy just a little bit of time at this site, just because this is where people see it and get to it. If we can't have it at this site, we will transport it to the RG&E site. The reason we didn't is 12 tons, Mayor. It's a huge already offered to outfit us with extremely expensive Fresnel lenses. Anything we do need to turn this. Well, we would ideally like to, if we have to, RG&E has offered to let us store it indefinitely at the Russell Station property. But the plan here, Mayor, is to put it not on its original 50-foot. It was originally, the light was originally 59 feet off the water. Very high tower, the end of that 200-year era of uniquely designed structures to identify the port visually, okay? So it's the end of a 200-year era. I see a police car is around here right now. But I guess I just throw myself at your wisdom commercial there. I don't want to say, overstate the case, we're just on. What's that? We are. No. How's it going? No, Mayor. No. I know, and I laud your work in that behalf. But basically, Mayor, this really is an awful lot of volunteers. This is a 5-year period that these things have gone on. Sadly, our building itself was undermined. The seizing of that building and the breaking of properties that we had. It's a long 5-year history of missing that history in saving saving the tower. But I just feel that some of these little issues just need addressing by some of the new people, not the same people in your administration that were part of the problem before. And just, I guess, the simplest request, which is not as good an alternative, would be just simply have the crew that's here move this over the
quite been up in this position before, but you never know.
Okay, well,
This is
that's
Teddy.
at least,
My daughter went up because they didn't even
well,
get
that's
breakfast, so they went up to get
yeah,
some
that's
milk.
at least better than,
But he didn't
whatever.
realize this
We were told
preservation thing was
destination
going to
yesterday
this.
was Dewey Avenue.
Guess the problem was when they, I don't know, when they disassembled the other and moved it, this was too big to move.
Yeah.
Or they couldn't take it through the
I know,
city
but
streets without a permit or something. I don't remember. So,
Well, it's overturned, I think.
yeah. So,
Well,
they put
right,
it here
right.
temporarily.
We'll see what he finds out from the mayor. The last I heard is that he's moving to Russell Station.
oh, Rochester, okay, I'm not sure whether we're dealing with the Marine Police or Sheriff's Department. Yeah, the mayor has said that, I wasn't aware, apparently this was just resolved with calls to Bob Meyer, because the mayor wasn't reachable. Our directors, we didn't hear about this until 7 o'clock last night, so that didn't leave us a lot of time to save this. Our information, and it was accurate because it came from the source, is that then this was to be moved down to Dewey Avenue. A lot of people have worked in preserving it at the end of a 200-year era. It's the last identifiable property. Okay, yeah, right. Well, where is the, this height, Martha? Yeah, well, well, I didn't mean, I hate to put you in the middle of this, but if we didn't, it would be lost. It was slated to go, but originally it was slated to go to Dewey Avenue, before we understood it. And,
We gotta take some stuff inside off.
There's no excuses then. They can't take it.
The big excuse is getting up driveway now.
Oh.
The big excuse. What do you think of it? What do you think?
Well, yeah, it's Swacen, that's what it is.
John? I'll throw you up the chain.
Okay, this tower has stood at the end of the Charlotte Pier. It's been the maritime symbol, the major symbol of our maritime heritage, as a unique individual tower designed just for this port, this pier. The Pierhead Light and Tank Tower, designed in 1926, again uniquely for this property, has been out there, we feel, since 1927. Coast Guard records indicate that official designation may have been as late as 1931, but we think it was located there in 27, and the government just took time in the designation process. It's far more important than that, though, in that it's the last of a 200-year heritage of uniquely designed light towers. It was the symbol of our Great Lakes port, and now, starting in this latest phase of replacement of the uniquely designed towers, there are sadly just uniform cylinders that their only uniqueness is in the paint and the striping, and perhaps in the signaling of the light. So this is really the end of a 200-year era where towers were designed to look unique visually, so that in our schooner era, when this used to be a major port, this port precedes the city of Rochester. This is in 1805, designated by President John Adams and subsequently reconfirmed by Thomas Jefferson, the Lighthouse Society of Papers. So it has, this port, even individually, goes back to prior to 1805, when the port was officially designated U.S. port in 1805. However, shipping and towers on the Great Lakes, some of those are much older than that, we believe go back to the 1700s. So we feel it's the end of a 200-year era as far as the design landmark. This was the tank tower designed to house, there was an evolution of lighting from whale oil to other oils, and eventually to acetylene, because acetylene, I believe, could be quite explosive. This tank house, which stood, the tower, the light stood 59 feet off the water. Part of the tower, the light may have been the highest projection on the tower, but it was 59 feet off the water. It weighs 36,000 pounds. And unfortunately, the huge explosion-proof tank house is 12 tons, 24,000 of those 36,000 pounds. The rest of the tower was the remaining 6 tons or 12,000 pounds. That has already been relocated at the Argini property. And we have a wonderful, peaceful resolution to things today. And as I put it, sadly, the previous mayor did not want to get involved in these heritage issues. We first lost our museum 5 years ago after 200 volunteers did the sand sculpture, built the museum, put in a theater, designed special videos that taught kids about our port. They had wonderful exhibits in there. We did such a good job in building with the one person in the city, one official who remains a problem to this day, who's now Deputy Director of Parks, Rec, and Human Services, lives on Beach Avenue, sadly has undue control of this important asset. Created a situation, undermined us, broke the lease 5 years ago. We lost that 5 years ago. A year later, we had worked for 2 years since the start of our museum. We were working 2 years for the National Historic Landmark designation, a very important ship that was held for us by the Army Corps of Engineers in Buffalo.
You're slightly losing me.
Yeah.
Did the city say you could have this?
Oh, back to this? Yes. The city? No, this was not given to us by the city.
Can you try to move it around?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. No, this was not given to us by the city. This was owned by the U.S. Coast Guard. This was official ownership of this was transferred to the Maritime Discovery Center of Rochester. We are a totally volunteer, not-for-profit, primarily environmental education organization. But sadly, when the lighthouse couldn't get its act together and others quickly enough to save it, we were asked to step in. The Coast Guard transferred the ownership to us. We had an understanding from the city that this could stay here until the letter from Whiting, the deputy director. The issue here is that Whiting's letter originally, his permit and permission stated that it would not be destroyed or altered until July 25th. We felt we had time to rally. We attempted to move it. We did move it once already. We had CP Ward donated another large crane, flatbed truck, crew. We acted as riggers, our volunteers. The Coast Guard placed it at the about 500 feet or more down the pier at the north end of the north building, just because that's the only place where the big Bristol Bay ship with its crew of 30 or so was able to place it. They cut it in a way so we could save it, but they cut it in a way so that it could be transported if necessary. We transported, according to our agreement with the city, the majority of it where RG&E is helping save it at the Russell Station. But it turned out that the tank house was so huge, so heavy, it meant limb removal, tree removal, wire removal. And we, one of our directors called the city, who said that we could locate here as long as it was not on the wharf. So we moved it from the wharf at the north end, located it down here, secured it, made it safe, closed it so kids couldn't climb on it so it wouldn't be a nuisance. And sadly, while I was away for a week, and our other director who was instrumental in the saving was also away in the Cape, I was away at a Great Lakes seminar on the east-western end of the basin. And we got a registered letter saying it had to be removed by the 25th. Well, we found out just last night at 7 o'clock that these cranes were coming down today. What is the date today? That's far sooner than the 25th.
Do they get destroyed or
Well, yeah, Whiting had absolutely threatened to scrap it in his letter. We have that letter. So this is an extremely significant landmark, but it's a part of a pattern of 5 years of this methodical non-caring and destruction of port property. We worked on the roof of the large, significant 1935 building. We saved all the records of the port as a group. Those were confiscated and we wasted by the city.
Okay, you're getting. I got it. Yeah, I got it. So you climbed on top of this?
Well, this morning we had to because
It's on top of this right
yes,
here.
we couldn't reach Mayor Ryan directly early this morning because the riggers arrived at 8. I arrived at 8:10, and much to my dismay, they were cutting additional holes, again destroying the integrity of the history of the tower. Not intentionally, they felt they had to do this for moving, but it was again more cutting after all the cutting we already had to do.
So you called Mayor Johnson?
So we called Mayor Johnson from our cellular phone at the top of the tower, and fortunately we finally got through to him, and he came up with a wonderful resolution. He's a good man. I hope we'll turn around issues in the city. He gave us more time in 5 minutes than the previous administration had given us in 10 years of working on this. And we're moving it to Russell Station, where it'll be with the rest of the tower, where it's in a position on the big lawns near the guard shack where it's protected. RG&E is taking responsibility for its protection, and it will be in a place where the wide variety of historical groups that want it preserved, the Coast Guard, the Aids to Navigation Group, the Auxiliary, the Lighthouse, the Marine Historical Society, will now have the time to work it. We've been offered by Aids...
You can keep talking, I'm okay.
Yeah, we've been offered by Aids to Navigation, the big group, that they will outfit the lighthouse with historically significant artifacts. The current light, the foghorn, the signaling systems, all federal property. Some of it's still in there and really shouldn't be moved.
What's it worth?
Oh, the tower, it's invaluable.
Well, you say it's a tower, but it's...
Oh, because the tower is...